Welcome, everyone, to Week 1, Lecture 2. Today we get into the content, making the case for why this subject matters, not just as a required course, but as a lens you will use for the rest of your career. Think about the last time you grabbed a coffee before class. You walked in, placed your order, and a few minutes later, hopefully, your drink was ready. That experience felt simple, but behind it was a system. Someone decided how many baristas to schedule for the morning rush, how much milk to order so they don't run out at 9 a.m., what order to make drinks in so the line moves fast, how long you should wait before you start complaining. That system has a name. Operations management is the design, management, and improvement of the processes that create and deliver a firm's goods and services. Notice three key verbs: design, manage, improve. OM is not just about running a process. It is about building it right, running it well, and constantly making it better. And notice it says goods and services. Every hospital, every airline, every university, every app you use, they all have operations. Goods versus services. We typically think of operations in terms of manufacturing, factories, assembly lines, physical products, but the majority of the US economy is services: healthcare, finance, education, retail, hospitality. The principles of operations management apply equally to both. Goods are tangible and can be stored. Services are consumed as they are produced. You cannot stockpile a haircut or a surgery. This has profound implications for how you manage capacity, quality, and customer experience. Operations management in NYC. Look around this city. Every restaurant deciding how many cooks to schedule for a Saturday night. Every hospital managing bed capacity during flu season. Every delivery driver optimizing a route through Brooklyn traffic. Every bodega owner deciding how much inventory to keep on the shelf. Operations management is not an abstract concept. It is the daily reality of running any organization in any industry. The text gives us a powerful framework for understanding what goes wrong in any operation. It identifies three system inhibitors: waste, variability, and inflexibility. Let's look at each one. Waste. Waste is any activity that consumes resources, time, money, materials, labor, without creating value for the customer. The Toyota production system identified 8 types of waste: overproduction, making more than is needed; waiting, idle time when a process is held up; unnecessary motion, workers moving without purpose; defects, products or services that need to be redone; excess inventory, holding more stock than you need. In a coffee shop, a barista making drinks that were never ordered, or a customer waiting because the espresso machine is broken. That is waste. Variability. Variability is unpredictability in customer demand, in supplier delivery times, in how long a process actually takes. Think about a hospital emergency room. You cannot predict exactly how many patients will arrive or how sick they will be. So you have to staff for the worst case, which means idle nurses during quiet periods. Variability forces businesses to hold extra inventory, extra capacity, extra staff. It is expensive. Reducing variability through better forecasting, standardized processes, reliable suppliers is one of the most valuable things an operations manager can do. Inflexibility. And inflexibility is the inability to adapt. When customer preferences shift or a new product is needed, an inflexible operation cannot respond quickly. During COVID, companies that could pivot their operations quickly, distilleries making hand sanitizer, clothing manufacturers making masks, survived and even thrived. Those that could not adapt struggled. Flexibility is a strategic asset. The mission. The goal of operations management is to reduce all three inhibitors: less waste, less variability, more flexibility. That is the mission. When you achieve it, you get better performance, lower costs, faster delivery, higher quality, and that translates directly into competitive advantage. This is what separates great companies from average ones. Not the strategy on paper, but the execution in the operation. 4 V's introduction. Nigel Slack gives us a powerful framework for understanding why different businesses run their operations so differently. He calls it the 4 V's: volume, variety, variation in demand, and visibility. Every operation sits somewhere on each of these 4 dimensions, and where you sit determines how you should be managed. Volume ends. Volume asks, how many units does the operation produce? High volume operations like fast food chains can spread fixed costs across millions of units. That is why a Big Mac costs less than a restaurant burger. Low volume operations can customize, but at a price. A Michelin-starred restaurant serves 40 covers a night. The cost structure is completely different. Neither is wrong, they are just different operating models. Variety. Variety asks, how many different products or services does the operation offer? A bespoke tailor offers enormous variety. Every suit is unique. That requires flexibility, skilled workers, and complex scheduling. A shirt factory produces one style in 5 sizes. That enables efficiency and automation. High variety requires flexibility. Low variety enables efficiency. You generally cannot have both at the same time. Variation and visibility. Variation in demand asks, does customer demand fluctuate? A ski resort has extreme seasonal variation, packed in winter, nearly empty in summer. A water utility barely changes at all. High variation forces you to build capacity for peak demand, which sits idle the rest of the time. Visibility asks, how much of the operation does the customer actually see? A surgeon's patient is fully present and aware of every step. An Amazon fulfillment center is completely invisible to the buyer. High visibility operations require different skills, different quality standards, and different management approaches than back office operations. 4 V's. Summary. Here is the 4 V's at a glance. Keep this framework in mind as we move through the semester. Every time we study a new topic, process design, capacity planning, inventory management, ask yourself, how does this apply differently depending on where the operation sits on these 4 dimensions? A high volume, low variety manufacturer manages inventory very differently from a low volume, high variety service firm. The framework helps you ask the right questions. Why business students need OM. You might be thinking, I am a marketing major, or finance, or management. Why do I need to know about operations? Here is the honest answer. Because operations is where strategy meets reality. A brilliant marketing campaign means nothing if the product is not on the shelf. A smart financial model fails if the cost structure is broken. Operations is the engine. Everything else is the dashboard. No matter what function you work in, you will interact with operations every day of your career. Operations as the hub. Think of operations as the hub of the business wheel. Every function connects to it. Marketing makes promises, operations has to keep them. Finance models the numbers, operations generates the costs and revenues that make those numbers real. HR plans the workforce. Operations defines how many people are needed and when. Strategy sets the direction. Operations is where that direction either succeeds or falls apart. You cannot be effective in any business function without understanding how operations works. Slide 19, Amazon script. For example, consider Amazon. Amazon does not just sell products. Amazon is an operations company. Their ability to deliver to your door in 2 hours, that is not magic. That is operations management at scale. Fulfillment centers positioned within 20 miles of most US consumers. Predictive inventory algorithms that move products before you even order them. Routing optimization that adjusts in real time. Amazon's competitive advantage is not its website, it is its operation, the bodega. And it is not just the Amazons of the world. The bodega owner on your block faces the same fundamental operations challenges. How much inventory to keep on the shelf, when to reorder, how to handle the morning rush with one employee, how to manage a supplier who delivers late. The scale is different. The principles are identical. That is what makes operations management one of the most universally applicable subjects in business education. Course roadmap. Over the next 15 weeks, we are going to build your operations toolkit. We start with strategy, understanding how operations connects to competitive advantage. Then we move into process design, quality management, forecasting, inventory, and supply chain management. Each topic builds on the last. By the end of this course, you will be able to walk into any business and diagnose what is working, what is not, and what to do about it. Student success. By the end of this course, you will be able to walk into any business and see it through an operations lens. You will ask different questions. You will notice things other people miss. You will understand why some companies consistently outperform their competitors. And it is usually not because of a better product. It is because of a better operation. That is a skill that will serve you for life. Thanks for watching. In our next lecture, we will dig into operations strategy, how the decisions made in operations rooms determine whether a company wins or loses in the market. We will look at how companies like Toyota, Zara, and Southwest Airlines built their competitive advantage through operational choices. See you there.